There's a moment in every person's life when they stand at the edge of everything they've ever known, staring into the vast unknown, and they have to choose. Stay comfortable, stay safe, stay small, or leap into the terrifying beauty of their own destiny. A young shepherd once stood at that very edge. He had a recurring dream that haunted him, whispered to him, called to him from across deserts and oceans. And what he didn't know was that choosing to follow that dream would cost him everything he thought he wanted, only to give him everything his soul truly needed. This is not just his story. This is the story of every person who's ever felt that pull, that restless ache in their chest that says, "There's more. There has to be more." Santiago was a shepherd. Simple life. Predictable days. He knew every hill, every grazing path, every sunset over the Andalusian countryside. His family wanted him to be a priest, to follow the safe path, the expected path. But something in him burned for more. He wanted to travel. He wanted to see the world. So he chose the sheep because at least with the sheep, he could move, he could wander, he could taste freedom in small doses. But here's the thing about playing it safe while dreaming of more. Your soul never stops whispering. And for Santiago, that whisper came in the form of a dream. The same dream night after night. A child leading him to the Egyptian pyramids, showing him treasure buried at their base. Most people would dismiss it. Most people would call it foolish. Most people would wake up, tend their sheep, and let the dream fade like morning mist. But Santiago was different. He couldn't shake it. He couldn't silence it. And that made all the difference. So he did what terrified him most. He sold his sheep. Every single one. Everything he owned. Everything that represented his identity, his security, his life as he knew it. Gone. Exchanged for a chance, for a maybe. For a dream that everyone around him said was childish. And in that moment of letting go, Santiago learned the first brutal truth of any real journey. To find your treasure, you must be willing to abandon your comfort. He crossed into Africa, into Tangier, into a world that felt nothing like home. The colors were different. The language was different. The rhythm of life pulsed with an unfamiliar beat. And within hours, within moments of stepping into his new life, he was robbed. Everything. Every coin he'd earned from selling his flock. Gone. Stolen by someone he thought he could trust. Imagine that feeling. You've given up everything for a dream. And before you've even begun, you're stripped bare. You're standing in a foreign land with nothing but the clothes on your back, and a dream that suddenly feels like the cruelest joke the universe could play. Most people would turn back right there. Most people would call it a sign, a warning, proof that they should have stayed where they were safe. But here's what Santiago discovered in that moment of absolute despair. When you lose everything, you discover what you're truly made of. He could have begged for passage home. He could have given up. Instead, he got to work. He found a crystal merchant, a man who had also once dreamed of Mecca, of pilgrimage, of something more. But unlike Santiago, this merchant had let his dream become a someday that never came. He built a comfortable life and called his dream impossible, too expensive, too impractical. Santiago worked for that merchant for nearly a year. He transformed the shop, brought it back to life, earned back his money, earned back his means. And here's the beautiful tragedy. He could have stopped there. He had enough to buy new sheep, to go home, to return to the life he knew. The merchant even encouraged it, projected his own abandoned dreams onto this young man and told him to be practical, to be realistic, to be safe. But Santiago had tasted something the merchant had long forgotten. He'd tasted the aliveness that comes from pursuing your personal legend, from following the call of your soul even when the path is unclear. So he left the crystal shop. He joined a caravan crossing the Sahara Desert. And in that vast, endless ocean of sand, Santiago learned what it truly means to listen. Not to the noise of the world, not to the voices of fear and doubt, but to the language that everything speaks. The desert spoke. The wind spoke. The stars spoke. And slowly, painfully, beautifully, Santiago learned to hear them. He met an Englishman in that caravan, a man obsessed with books, with learning the secrets of alchemy through study and intellect. While the Englishman buried his nose in texts, Santiago watched the desert. He listened to his heart. He learned that wisdom isn't always found in books, that some truths can only be discovered through experience, through presence, through the willingness to be taught by life itself. The universe was conspiring to help him, whispering lessons in every grain of sand, every shift of wind, every star that guided them through the night. Then came the oasis. And then came Fatima. Love arrived like a sandstorm, sudden and all-consuming. She was beautiful, yes, but more than that, she was home. For the first time since he'd left Andalusia, Santiago felt like he could stop running, stop searching, stop journeying. He could stay here. Build a life. Love this woman. Wasn't love worth more than some dream about treasure? Wasn't connection more valuable than some restless quest? But here's what Santiago learned, what breaks so many of us. Real love doesn't ask you to abandon your soul. Fatima understood something that most people never grasp. She told him that if he stayed for her, if he gave up his personal legend for her, he would eventually resent her. The treasure would haunt him. The unlived life would poison what they had. Real love says go. Real love says become who you're meant to be. Real love trusts that if it's meant to be, the journey will bring you back, transformed, complete, ready. So Santiago continued. He met the alchemist, a mysterious figure who saw in this young shepherd what others couldn't see. The potential for transformation, for true understanding, for becoming more than he ever imagined. The alchemist pushed him further into the desert, deeper into danger, closer to the edge of his own fear and limitation. They were captured by warring tribes. Santiago's life hung in the balance. And the alchemist made him an impossible promise. Turn yourself into the wind or we both die. Turn into the wind. How do you do the impossible when your life depends on it? How do you reach beyond every limitation you've ever known when everything says it can't be done? Santiago stood in that moment of ultimate pressure, and he did the only thing he could do. He stopped trying to force it. He stopped thinking. He started listening with everything he had. He spoke to the desert, to the wind, to the sun, to the hand that wrote all. And in that conversation, in that surrender, in that complete trust in something larger than himself, Santiago didn't just turn into the wind. He became one with everything. He touched the soul of the world. And here's the profound truth hidden in that moment. The treasure was never about gold. It was about transformation. It was about a shepherd boy learning to speak the universal language, learning to trust his heart, learning that when you want something with your whole soul, the entire universe conspires to help you achieve it. Not because the universe is magical, but because when you align with your deepest truth, you tap into a power that was always there, waiting for you to claim it. Santiago finally reached the pyramids. After everything he'd sacrificed, everyone he'd left behind, every test he'd endured, he was there. He began to dig where his dream had shown him. And nothing. No treasure. Just sand and more sand and the crushing weight of wondering if it had all been for nothing. Then came the thieves who beat him and mocked him for believing in dreams. And one of them, in his mockery, told Santiago about his own recurring dream. Treasure buried under a sycamore tree in an abandoned church in Spain. The very church where Santiago's journey had begun. The treasure was back home. It had always been back home. Some people hear this and think it's cruel, that Santiago traveled all that way only to find that what he sought was where he started. But they're missing the point entirely. Santiago had to make the journey. He had to cross the desert, fall in love, turn into wind, speak with the soul of the world. Because the boy who left Spain could never have found that treasure. He wouldn't have known what he was looking for. He wouldn't have understood its value. He wouldn't have become the man capable of receiving it. The journey transformed him. The obstacles shaped him. The losses taught him. The love opened him. The fear refined him. And when he returned home and dug beneath that sycamore tree and found gold and jewels beyond measure, he wasn't the same shepherd who had once tended sheep in those hills. He was an alchemist himself. He had turned the lead of his simple life into the gold of true understanding. Your dream is calling you right now. You feel it, don't you? That restless pull, that whisper that says there's something more you're meant to do, someone more you're meant to become. And you're scared. Scared of leaving comfort behind. Scared of losing what you have. Scared that you'll sacrifice everything and find nothing. Scared that your dream is foolish, impractical, impossible. But here's what Santiago's story teaches us. The universe conspires to help those brave enough to listen to their hearts. The obstacles aren't punishments. They're initiations. The losses aren't failures. They're clearings, making space for what's truly meant for you. And the treasure, the real treasure, isn't the gold at the end. It's who you become in the pursuit. It's the courage you discover. It's the language you learn to speak with your own soul and with the world around you. So sell your sheep. Leave the familiar hills. Cross your desert. Face your fears. Turn into wind when the impossible is demanded of you. Because on the other side of that journey, you won't just find treasure. You'll find yourself. And that is the alchemy that transforms everything. Your personal legend is waiting. And when you pursue it with your whole heart, the entire universe conspires in your favor. Not someday. Not tomorrow. Now. The journey begins now.